What's up, motherfuckers? Anywho, I've put oil treatment on my chain and everything. Now, what I got to do is I got to grease my bearings here, grease my bearings up in the front, and then so I'm waiting on the grease to come in. Before I do that, I might go live and just show y'all how I got to get a crankshaft puller and pull that shit out. I got the tools coming on the way, but I got to pull the pedals and then grease the bearings in there because I mean like they talk a lot of shit about a cheap ass Walmart bike, but the reality is that it's kind of like sugar. You go and buy the off brand sugar, sugar. At the end of the day, I mean, you got to weld these things in. I mean, the frame's fine. So what are they talking about? Oh well, it's barely going to last or whatever. Well, they're talking about the bearings because you got a set of bearings on each side on the back wheel. You got a set of bearings on the front wheel on each side, and you got a set of bearings on your crankshaft, on both sides. And if you can grease up, I got bearing grease where I'm going to grease that up, and that'll make it just like an expensive ass bike, But I only paid $98 for the motherfucker. I mean, when it comes out of you know, the factory, they don't grease this shit at all. They don't put shit on there. You'll take it apart, it'll be dry as a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be like, what the fuck? But most normal people think, okay, well, I got my car. Oh yeah, yeah, that's crazy, brother. That's crazy. Yeah, you did talk to me yesterday, man. That's some crazy shit. But hell yeah, most normal people they think, okay, well, I got my car, I drive back and forth to work, and I do my thing, and stuff like that. But some of these people, and I'm not really saying any names or nothing, but some of these people can't afford a car, right? And these people that are nice enough to offer this person a car, whoever, some people a car, or what have you. Now, I'll go ahead and mention the name, J. Rom. I got a question for J. Rom. Like when you're trying to give a car to somebody, and we kind of know who I'm talking about. When you're trying to give a car to somebody that can't afford one, some dumb bitch, they can't afford one, right? Some crazy, weird ass, goofy bitch who can't afford one, can't afford the gas to put in the mother, can't afford oil to put in that son of a bitch. Are you going to maintain it too, or you just going to leave it to her to fucking burn the fuck up? That's a question I got. I got a question about that. Because it's like that it's not going to last very long with her. You know, and if she can't maintain her shit, even afford to do that, why not get the bitch a bike? If the bitch is only like a mile from where she works and shit like that, why can't she hop on a bike and go? You know what I'm saying? I mean, like me, I work, you know, right down the street, you know, ain't a big deal. I can walk there, right? Right. Right. Well, I get that, brother. Like, hey, you kind of live in the city. Maybe you don't have to have one. You don't have to have a car or driver's license or whatever. I get that, man. But the thing is that when this bitch can't afford none of that, why didn't you just get her a bike and then tell her ass, okay, well, I don't think she could afford to do it, baby. You know what I'm saying? That's my question. I don't think she could afford to fucking upkeep on a bike. You know what I'm saying? I don't think she can maintain a bike, bro. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying you gotta just, you should have ordered her something on Walmart and call it a day. Don't even talk to her no more. I'm just throwing it out there. I think it's extremely generous and yeah, she ain't gonna do that. You know that. I mean, you ain't worked in like 15, 20 years or longer. You know what I mean? We know she ain't gonna do that. Come on, bro. I didn't understand her point of saying like her daughter needed a car to go right down the street, and I'm talking about within a mile, less than a mile, right? And you don't need a car for that, mother. A badass car like she needed a brand new car or something. And I was like, what the fuck? But yeah, I had that question. It just popped up because I'm not. Most of the time I'm thinking normally, oh, everybody's got a car, everybody can get back and forth to work. I'm thinking, like everybody, right? Hey, what's up, Rexter Rogers? What you up to, brother? I'm thinking like everybody else, you know what I mean? But now, that I'm working on this little project, where I'm trying to do the skip thing and try to get my shit on there and everything, right? Now I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, I'm not exactly thinking normally like we would all think, right? And so, so it ends up throwing up that point of, okay, well, thinking it through a little bit, you know, of okay, what would this woman do? Because she can't afford the shit that I'm affording on this bike, even much less a car. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, okay, well, she can't afford shit. She ain't gonna be able to do shit, right? She can't afford gas, bro. you know, but why didn't she ever buy her own daughter a bike? That's what I'm thinking too. Why did your daughter's going right down the street, bro? Wouldn't a bicycle be so much easier for why wouldn't you put up that little bit of money or whatever, and buy the girl a bike? Why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you buy yourself one if you're going right and then you could go right to the grocery store and right back, or buy a community bike for you and your daughter, to go back and forth with, or something like that, to get groceries or whatever the fuck it is that you need, and be able to come. Why would you walk and hoof it all that way? Yeah. I mean, everything everybody learned, they kind of learn off of their bicycle when they were a kid, right? And about cars, it kind of applies, right? So it would make sense that, I want a way to travel whenever I go to these small ass islands, these little tiny islands and shit. But I was just throwing up the idea that what the fuck, this woman couldn't accomplish any of that, and you're gonna give her a car that's just gonna end up going into the ground anyway. Because I mean, let's face it. I mean, women in general. I mean, and it's no offense to the ladies, but y'all don't like to put gas in that motherfucker. Y'all have us do it. I'm just throwing it out there. Just throwing it out there. You know. I'm just throwing it out there, man. But sometimes whenever you're dealing with sweet cheeks, I mean, it's like I do got that question about what was it that you thought she was going to be able to do with that? She wasn't going to be able to do shit. And I looked at it the same way. I was going to try to do the same thing that y'all were doing. Extremely generous, extremely amazing, extremely sweet of y'all to do. And I'm not knocking that at all. Not knocking that at all. But just wanted to throw it out there. So I get a little bit of a different perspective on it. Okay, well, where was that going to go? Because he expected her to be able to just be normal all of a sudden. It wasn't going to happen, bro. Oh, Jesus. I mean, she's insane, you know what I mean? So I just wanted to throw that out there and put it out there for what it was. It's like, okay, well, I'm paying all this, this little extra shit to, for the grease and this and that, to get this, of course I'm doing it because I'm putting an engine on the motherfucker, because I don't want it to lock up while I'm fucking going down the road on an engine. A little engine, a little 100cc engine, But I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, I just treated this chain, put this treatment on the chains and everything, and all that bullshit, fucking around with it. I got them together. The motor still hasn't come in, like and the certain grease, like I got the motor grease, but I didn't get the bearing grease. So I'm like, gotta wait on that, to get here. To be here like Monday, Tuesday, or something like that, and then I'll start putting it all together. You know, slowly but surely. And I think the engine comes in on. Let's see. I got my little engines coming in. Uh, Friday, next Friday. So it's like I got that question. I'm thinking, well, why wouldn't Sharon do what I'm doing now? With the little engine and all that. Well, she ain't mechanically inclined. She ain't gonna be able to do that. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. You know, that crazy whore wouldn't be able to do that. And it was like, okay, well, you could go a mile down the road. You could afford something. Why couldn't you pay $100, $200, $300 to get this little bicycle and do your thing? And she doesn't work that far from work herself now. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, she's on housing. She could go right down the street, ride her little motorbike or a little bike, right? And you could go to the grocery store, get your shit, get a little baskets, even a little set of saddlebags and shit. And they got a little fucking. I was talking about that little cart or whatever the fuck it is, the little thing you can tie to the bag and fucking go and put a bunch of like 70 pounds worth of shit on it. You know what I mean? And so I'm going to use it to go down, into the remote parts of the beach or onto the little remote parts of islands or when I want to go and I want to stock up on groceries when I hit an island or whatever the case might be. Yeah, I know, brother. That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. You know. Yes, sir. Well, I already got, I've considered that. You know what I mean, Rom? I really did consider that. James, you're fucking hilarious. I considered that, but I said, well, fuck it. I'll buy a brand new one, for 98 at fucking Walmart. Fuck it. You know what I mean? And then the motherfucker's brand new. I know what the fuck's going on with it from day one. And, I ain't got to worry about, oh, well, do I have to change out all these bearings and fuck with this or that? So I figured, fuck it. I'll just do it that way. You know what I mean, brother? And I can grease them bearings myself, because, coming out of that factory, they ain't greased up, man. They ain't greased up. They're dry as a bone. Even if you just run it around for a little while, it's going to fucking, burn the fuck up. Much less put the motor on that motherfucker. If I put a motor on that motherfucker, it's really going to lock the fuck up. Real quick. James. James is hilarious today. He's on a roll. Yeah, but you can find one for 20, $60. I was looking at that, Rob. I was, man. But I already got three of, the amount I wanted, the amount of bikes I wanted, and got them pretty cheap and they're brand new and be able to haul ass with them. You know what I mean? I figure that'll work out. But I just was wondering, like, about that Sharon situation. Like, okay, well, she has a car, she don't have a job or nothing, she don't have nothing going, what the fuck is she gonna do with it? I would take my kids to work at school and shit, but I don't have any money to put any gas in it. I don't have the money to change the oil. I don't have, what I'm saying? I mean, it's like, wow, like I think with these little motorbikes, man, it's like 100 to 150 miles a gallon, bro. I was like, holy fuck, that motherfucker goes far, you know. So I hit an island, I can get like to whatever grocery store, find my way around and figure it out before I run out of gas. You know what I mean? One way or another. I'm gonna be able to get somewhere. You know, get pretty far. Hmm. Oh yeah, for sure, man. For sure. I mean, it's just way too expensive, bro. Way too expensive. But I did kind of wonder about that whole situation. Like, what would she do next? Because the next move would be what? She would end up having to sell it. That's all she could do with it. She couldn't do nothing else. So all you're doing is you might as well just give her money. You're gonna do that. That's the way I was looking at it. I was just thinking to myself, God damn, what would she do next? She wouldn't do shit. There's nothing she could do. But I just wanted to throw that out there. But I'll do a little video whenever I get my my bearing grease and shit like that. Like whenever I was a kid, man, I used to take like just regular engine oil and shove it into that motherfucker. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, it's a possibility. I don't know that she would though. I mean, she could do a lot of things, but she could have been doing that for years, brother. It just seems like if you can't get there by yourself, you're not going to be able to get there with somebody helping you either. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't see it, brother. I don't see it. I mean, it's possible, but I mean, me and you know how to do it, right? So, but it would take like how many times have we had a car in our lives that broke down and we went out there and had to fix that motherfucker from scratch because we didn't have the money maybe to be able to fix that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And like, if it broke down on her, what would she do? She couldn't afford to fix the motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? She couldn't, she couldn't go out there and work on it. You know what I mean? She couldn't do what she had to do. I mean, when you're struggling like that, I don't see it. I just don't see it being possible. I really don't. Not for her. There ain't no way. Well, she says a lot of shit, James, doesn't she? She says a lot of shit. She absolutely says a lot of shit, but I mean, if that motherfucker broke down, I mean, like your truck could probably break down, bro. I bet you would have a good idea what's wrong with it, and you probably could fix it yourself. You know what I mean? As a business owner, you've been in that position a few times, I'm sure, where you said, "Okay, fuck it, I'm gonna go ahead and throw this goddamn, part in this motherfucker and save myself some time and money." I can almost guarantee it. You know, and she couldn't do something like that. She couldn't. And it's one thing when you're capable. You could throw somebody a car and they're fucking gonna make it. And you throw this motherfucker card, you could almost guarantee she ain't gonna make it. She ain't gonna make it, bro. She ain't gonna make it. You know what I mean? It ain't gonna happen. Yeah, oh yeah, complete BS. She always says that. I mean, she always says something like that. But I mean, it's a question that I had that I was like, okay, well, just my mentality of it. And I'm not knocking you at all. I'm not saying anything bad at all. But it's extremely generous and sweet, and wonderful what you were doing. But it's just, I was just thinking it through, like, okay, because I hadn't thought it through before. Yeah, shit, yeah, brother. Exactly. There you go. See, he completely. He had to use a goddamn Uber to get to the parts. You know what I mean? Put that shit together and get to going back down that road. So there you go. Hell yeah, 100%. I mean, like it's one thing when you know you're talking about somebody like me and you, and it's another thing when you're talking about somebody like her. That's another situation. Completely different. Oh shit. That bitch's shit would fall apart. She wouldn't know what to do, bro. You know it. She'd fucking shit herself. She'd be stuck right wherever she's at. you know. But anyways, yeah, I just gonna say, oh well, I'm still around. I'm here and there and doing my thing. I'm just kind of working on this bullshit, and I just it made me think, because you get to working on something, you start thinking like, okay, well, what would somebody in this position do? You know, maybe I don't know. Yeah, figure out how to put gas. Exactly. I really do. You know, You know, here's the thing. Like when she talked about like my windshield had a little crack in it and it was all banged in. It's a death trap. It would kill. I mean, like that kind of fucking behavior. Like part of me was thinking, okay, well, there's something going on there mentally, but the other part of me is like, this bitch ain't never had a car of her own. I mean, how many of us were teenagers and we got this little cheap ass bullshit car that we, you know, had to put together or whatever the case may be. I mean, I know a lot of women that had to put their little car together. James, exactly. I mean, you got your father who's going to teach you how to. It just told me this. It told me some of this too. The bitch has never had a car in her life. Like she doesn't even know how they really work. She doesn't really know that much about them. You know, it, like you got to really kind of pay attention to what the fuck's going on with her because she'll, you know, she's such a liar that you really can't believe a goddamn word that comes out of her mouth, right? So you start thinking to yourself, okay, well, this bitch has just never had a car, never had to worry about maintaining a car in her life. And I'm talking about from the age of 16 till now. You know, like she's never ever done that. Oh yeah, brother. I mean, I have too, man. I know what you're talking about, dude. I at one point, like whenever I was a youngster, I was probably 18, 19, just barely getting started out. Right, I'd already gone through a couple of cars, you know, but I had like a '70 Buick LeSabre, bro. That was a big old tank, bro. It was a big old tank, and I mean, it ran okay because an old lady owned it, right? And so you know, you talk about a death. That was a death trap though because it couldn't turn all that well. You know what I mean? It was like it's just a big old fucking boat. You know, bit free. Yeah, I've done some shit like that before, brother. Too. Yeah. Yeah, no shit, right, James? You get triggered like a motherfucker crashing the Yeah, I mean, goddamn, we've all been in that position, I'm sure, but I don't think that she has, man. I really don't think that she's ever seen that situation or had that situation, or but she's in this position where she's so financially, hurting. It seems like she would understand if she had ever owned a car how that shit fucking actually works, right, bro? And I'll tell you something, like she ain't never been there. She ain't never seen like a car, She ain't never had her own car. It just yeah. I've done that before too, man. Yeah, no shit. For sure, man. For sure. Dude, I had a what was it? Fuck. Um I forgot what it was, man, but goddamn, my catalytic converter, man. Just my catalytic converter was going out. And that motherfucker had it to where I couldn't go up a hill. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with my. And it was a brand new car, or his newer car. And it was actually a minivan. And I was trying to get up that motherfucking, that hill. And it just started putting. I was like, God damn. I had to take that shit. I was like, I don't know what's wrong with this. But it ended up being the catalytic converter. you know, uh, she's never had that kind of an experience, it's just, there ain't no telling. I don't think she's ever even driven, you know. I think the bitch needs to start off with a bike. She'd have to show me she can handle a bike. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Shit, because I don't believe her. I don't believe her at all. I don't believe a fucking word that comes out of her mouth. I really don't, brother. I really don't. I wouldn't believe none of that shit either. But I just gonna throw it out there and say what crossed my mind for a minute today. I was just thinking about that shit. I was like, holy shit, I don't think that bitch would make it, you know. But anyways, I'm out of here, guys. Y'all be good. I'm gonna go do my thing and chill for a bit because I don't have nothing else to do right now, and everything's good and done for me right now. So till tonight at midnight anyway, and then I got to start my week over. Oh wow, yeah. See, that's what I was throwing up as an idea for y'all. Is that I think that y'all could like if y'all see my shit whenever I get it all together. This idea I got. I've been kind of looking at YouTube videos and shit. I think that y'all could like strap behind because you know that little area behind your truck. I think you could strap like a couple of these bikes up behind there and be able to get a hold of them when you wanted to. You wouldn't have to do all that. That's what I think. I think you could get around town a little bit. Yeah, but she wasn't going anywhere. She wasn't going to the store. She wasn't doing it for herself. She was getting her oldest child to do it for her. I mean, think about it. Hey, honey, grab this and that and the other on your way home from work, right? And so she wouldn't have to leave that house. I no more believe that woman was in shape than anything. She wasn't. Oh yeah, for sure, brother, for sure. But I'm gonna put a little motor on these bikes. I want to be able to get around town, and go like 20 or 30 miles an hour and get to where I need to go and get back. Get back out at sea or whatever the case may be. Like I don't know how I'm gonna work out on a boat though, but I mean I think that if you scuba dive and you hit the beach a lot, that's a pretty good little workout, to a certain degree. But yeah, I think that y'all could probably benefit from strapping that shit on to the back and it'll get you around any because like whenever you're a truck driver, man, you see you see things, but you don't really see them. What I mean, you don't really get a chance to stop somewhere and really see what's going on. It would probably give you a better chance, with a little bike with a little motor on it, to get around and actually see like some of those sites. She'd be in business, huh? She would be if she could use some cockroaches as a fuel source. Absolutely, absolutely. But like I've been to New York City, but I didn't really get a chance to see shit. You know what I mean? To really see it like I wanted to see it. I went to a lot of places when I was driving the truck, but I didn't really see the fucking shit till later on I went and I said, well, this looks like fun. From whenever I was driving a truck, I want to actually go and see it. You know, instead of just drive by and watch it in the window. You know, because you can't. You get to a truck stop, you can't get nowhere, man. Yeah, yeah, I get that. Uber rent cars. Yeah, I mean, after a while though, Uber and renting cars gets a little bit expensive. I don't know if I would, you know, in the life of a truck driver, man, it sometimes you got your points where you're waiting to get paid like a motherfucker. You know, it seemed like I was getting paid when I wasn't in the places that had anything interesting to see. You know what I mean? Like you get to New York City, you're dropping off and you're picking up as fast as you can because you want the best load you can get to go as far as you wanted to go, right? Like, and most of the time, if you could hurry up fast enough and turn around, you could end up with that load that led you all the way to California. So and that's the craziest part. And then you don't get a whole lot of time. You're sitting, you may be, sitting for like 12 hours waiting in a truck stop or whatever the case may be. And if I had a bike in the back and I could just ride around, I didn't really have to worry about, hey, I'm going to rent a car or whatever, and paying all that money out or on whatever. It'd make it a little bit easier, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just making shit up again. I don't know. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and do my thing. Y'all be good. Peace out. Have fun today. Do your thing, and just have a good time with it. God damn. Yeah. Later on.